allow me to introduce the man, the legend, Mike Sauer. I know you're modest in hearing that, but we were asked to put together just a number of vineyard designates that really showcase our vineyard, and I know there's so many great vineyards along the Yakima Valley that this is our story, and everybody, Yakima fruit can really be found all across the state and beyond, and every vineyard kind of has a lot of their own stories and designates, and we sell fruit to about 33 wineries, so there's a lot of designates out there. I just kind of chose these to showcase. They had a little more of a continuity about them. They're probably something you could find in the marketplace. I'd just like to start with our beginnings, and this really goes back to the beginning of designated wines, largely for the Northwest, from what I understand, right? You want to talk about that?
Yeah. This is a real kick to be able to talk about these wines and reflect back on some of the story of Red Willow and the early days of the Yakima Valley in particular. This Red Willow, of course, is first known for its Cabernet Sauvignon. This was from an old vineyard that we planted in 1973, and in fact, the grapes, the vines came from the old Harrison Hill Vineyard that's now part of DeLille. But anyway, when we started, the winery is known as Associated Vintners. There were only 6 wineries in the state at the time, and this bottle in particular is really special in that it's vineyard designated Red Willow Vineyard, and David Lake, who we're very fortunate to be partners with in the early days, came up with the concept of putting the name of the vineyard on the wine, and it kind of connects the wine with the specific piece of ground. And so, of course, today that's very common to have vineyard designated wines, but these are several of the wines now that are all Cabernet Sauvignon. They're vineyard designated from Red Willow. And the Yakima Valley is very widespread in the wines that it's found in.
But there's literally designates that go back from our vineyard all the way back to 1981, which is a lot of wines at this point. But that's pretty special. So, so these are just some really good examples that showcase our terroir, I think, and in the vineyard. Great producers. Over here, we threw in some Bordeaux blends. I don't know, you want to talk about any in particular?
Yeah. I think this is an exciting direction that we're finding ourselves on the western end of the Yakima Valley. Our Bordeaux blends, more right bank, I guess you'd consider them, because they have a predominance of either Cabernet Franc and Merlot dominate the blend rather than Cabernet Sauvignon. And I think it's a direction that we're finding for our part of the Yakima Valley, a cooler region, and Cabernet Franc and Merlot especially excel here. And these are some fine examples of these 3 wines of blends of these different varieties, but they're all from Red Willow Vineyard, so you still have the sense of terroir, but yet it's these right bank blends.
Now, Eight Bells is doing something pretty unique in that they kind of picked up where David Lake left off and doing some of these co-fermented blends. Talk about that wine a little bit.
Yeah. This is special. It's called David's Block. Obviously, it's named after David Lake here. Had such an influence, and for a number of years, later years of David Lake's career, we were looking at multiple clones in the vineyard. And some of the fine Bordeaux vineyards of France have multiple clones in the vineyard. And it gives layers of complexity to the wine. And they've honored David Lake by calling it David's Block. It's a blend of multiple clones and also varieties in this single wine.